Hi everybody, welcome to episode number 30 of Driftless Knitting. Can you believe it has been 30 episodes? That is crazy. It honestly really just feels like yesterday that I was getting started, and I think it's awesome. I'm at 30, woohoo! So you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Driftless Knitter, and you can find the podcast on Ravelry if you search for Driftless Knitting under the Groups tab. I want to say a big hello to anyone who's coming back and watching my podcast again, and a huge welcome to anyone who's checking me out for the first time. Thanks so much, and I really hope that you like it. So I am coming to you from southeastern Minnesota, and it is a glorious spring day here. The last couple of days have felt like summer already. It was in the 80s and hot and a little sticky. But today I think it's only, oh yeah, it's close. It's like 78 degrees right now in the sun, but yeah, it feels really great. And there's a bit of a breeze coming through. I have my sliding door open, which might be letting in some noise from the school that's like right behind our apartment. I think the kids are out at recess right now, so there's been some shouting and just general play noise making. So I also have a few of my other windows open, and I really hope like my neighbors can't hear me, and like they're probably gonna think I'm crazy, but whatever. I gotta let the breeze in while I can. It's just, oh, it's so beautiful today. I've got my trusty cup of coffee here. This is in one of my favorite mugs from my college roommate, Amber, and it says, "Shh, I'm reading," all around it. And it's a big mug. So yeah, I'm drinking some delicious, I think it's this hazelnut vanilla, I think, coffee. Yeah. It was a long weekend, so I slept in this morning. It's Monday, by the way. Monday, May 15th. And yeah, the weekend was busy. We were at Shepherd's Harvest, which is the fiber festival outside of the Twin Cities in Lake Elmo. And I was there with Lisa of Three Sisters Fiber Company, and we were I was helping her with her booth. Seaver came up with me on Saturday, and the two of us were there helping, and because she had to come back down to Winona for a family thing, so we were up there. It was a ton of fun. Yeah, I'll talk a little bit more about it later, but yeah, it was really fun. Anyway, so yeah, speaking of Shepherd's Harvest, the project that I was working on while we were there will drive me straight into my works in progress. This is going to be familiar, of course, in my Mountain State Stitches bag. Let's see, I'll grab the yarn out of here too. Okay, move my coffee aside. I don't want to dip anything into the coffee. As much as I love coffee, I really don't want it on my knitting. Although then it will smell delicious always. But so this is my Find Your Fade. Yay! It's fading nicely into that new color. So the last time I podcasted, I was roughly around down here as I was just starting to meld those two colors together. And I've been doing the plain stockinette in the new color, in color C, for a while now. And I think I have a couple more repeats to go before I start doing the lace. But this was really great to work on at the festival because, you know, all it is garter stitch, and you know, you're just yarning over kind of, and then you're just doing a couple like increases, decreases type thing. And then the rest of it's just garter stitch. So that was really mindless and really great to have with me at the festival. And I'm loving how that color is turning out. Doesn't that just go so perfectly? I love it. So this is a skein from Three Sisters Fiber Company, although it's not a colorway that she regularly dyes or even meant to dye, I don't think. This was a bit of a mistake skein, and the colors turned out way lighter than she wanted them to, so she had set it aside. And when I was looking for yarn for my Find Your Fade, Lisa sent me a picture of this and asked if it would work in the fade, and I thought that it definitely would, and I was right. I think it's just gorgeous, and it's just like the lighter version of this color down here, which is also one of Lisa's colors. And I talk in way more detail about this in the last couple of episodes, just about like what the color, what all of these colors are, and where they come from and everything. So I won't bore you too much with that, and I didn't get a whole lot of progress done because it was a busy week, not just with the Shepherd's Harvest Festival, but just in general with work and everything. I went straight from working into driving back and forth from the Twin Cities Saturday and Sunday, and then this morning I really haven't done any knitting, so hopefully this next week I'll be able to start on the lace section. I'm really excited about that. And then after that colorway, I'll be going into my Spun Right Round yarn. And then I actually did find a 5th color at the festival, but I'll show that to you later because I got a couple skeins of yarn at the festival. Okay. My second work in progress is another one that you've seen, but I got a lot done on it. I am still not caught up because, of course, this is my ballpark cowl, or what I'm calling my ballpark cowl. Ooh, it's really wrinkly. And I'm basically keeping track of the Milwaukee Brewers baseball season by knitting certain number of rows in certain colors to represent wins and losses. Yeah, again, I talk about that in way more detail in the last episode, and I don't want to repeat myself too much, but last time I was only like right in here with the second home set of games, and then, because these are, I guess I'll say, okay, I don't want to like confuse anybody that maybe hasn't watched before, but again, I don't want to repeat myself, so the blues and the grays are for home games, and then the yellow and white are for away games, and so it kind of goes back and forth whether or not they've had a set of games at home or they're traveling on the road. But yeah, so I was just kind of in here, I think, and then I knit this whole set of games, and then I'm starting on the away games, and I think that I have a few more to do for the away. Yes. A couple more to do, or only one more. I think I'm on the last section for this section here, and then a set of home games, and then I'll be caught up. But I'm really excited because the last few games we have like been kicking butt, and in the last homestead we won 5 and we only lost 1. So this next section of blue and gray, it's going to be like a gigantic section of blue, which is really cool. I'm pretty excited about that. But I'm really liking how it's turning out. It's just so random and stripy. And of course the colors are the Brewers colors, so I get to show a little bit of team pride there when I wear this. But it's just, you never know really how it's going to look. And every day I look up what the score was, and now I'm thinking of it in terms of my knitting. I'm like, ooh, I get to do a few more rows of blue, or I have to put a couple rows of white in now, or however it goes. But so that's been really fun. I haven't really worked on that since like early in the week last week. Otherwise, it was my fade, and then this next project that I'm going to show you. Coffee break. Okay, so last but not least, I started a new project this week, and I am really, really excited about it. So In previous episodes, I showed you a work in progress that I was knitting for my mom. Her birthday and Mother's Day, which was just yesterday, well, U.S. Mother's Day. I think European Mother's Day is like in March or something. Or, I don't really know. Does it change by country? Or I don't know if every country even celebrates Mother's Day. I'm not really sure how that goes. But here in the United States, Mother's Day was yesterday. And, I have to show you. Oh my gosh, so sweet. So Seaver got flowers for his mom for Mother's Day, and he brought me home, even though I'm not a mom. Someday, hopefully, I will be, but I'm not a mom yet. But he brought me a little vase of flowers. I thought that was so sweet. So, they're sitting on my table now. He spoils me. He is a fantastic guy. Anyway, I'm gonna get all like emotional or something. But so yesterday was Mother's Day, and my mom's birthday is in the beginning of March. Beginning of March? No, it's not. It's in the beginning of May. And so there's only like 2 weeks in between her birthday and Mother's Day. And so usually I kind of like combine her gifts, especially when I'm not living close by. I'm not going to probably see her until, maybe the end of this month or early next month. So if I was living at home, of course, I'd give her something for each day. But now she's just going to get a whole package of presents. So I decided I was going to make her something to go along or around her shoulders. She kind of gets cold easily, and she likes to have something around her. I've made her a couple shawls, but I think that having the piece like connected like a poncho or a wrap is better for her, just because then she doesn't have to think about like closing it or wrapping it around, and that way it can come down like over her shoulders and keep her warm. So I was going to kind of just make something up and not like design something, but I thought, that's kind of an easy, simple shape to knit. And I could throw a little bit of something in there, like a cool stitch pattern or some cables or a little bit of like lace at the bottom. And I'd gotten that started, and I just didn't want to work on it. Like, I just wasn't picking it up. I wasn't excited about it. I was like waffling back and forth between like what pattern I was going to put like around the edge of it. And I just decided that I didn't really feel like making something up. I didn't really feel like designing something. I was forcing myself to do it, and I didn't want to think about it, especially after knitting that the Big Woods capelet that I showed you I think 2 episodes ago, that I submitted it to a contest, and I had kind of designed and knit the whole thing on the fly, and it takes a lot of brain power to be knitting and constructing at the same time. And while it's really fun, I was kind of just wanting somebody to tell me what to do. I wanted to look at a pattern and have a stitch count and have it all written out for me. I was feeling a little lazy, but sometimes that's really nice. Lisa and I actually were just talking about that. She was saying how even though she's a hand dyer, she still loves indie dyed yarns. And everyone, well, not everyone, but people kind of assume, oh, you dye your own yarn. Why would you buy a skein of indie dyed yarn from someone else? And, we like to support fellow makers, of course, and artists. But the other thing is that when it's not yours, it kind of tastes a little sweeter. It's like cooking. You can make the same exact recipe, but sometimes when someone else cooks it for you and sets it in front of you, it's kind of nice. It kind of tastes a little sweeter. But so I kind of felt the same way. I didn't feel like using a whole lot of brain power. I just wanted to knit. So that's what I did. I found a pattern that I've heard of actually a few times, mostly on the Hey Sister podcast. They were knitting these for, I think, for their moms and their mother-in-laws. Yeah, they each at least knit one. And I was looking through Ravelry. I had just put down shoulder cozy or shoulder wrap, or, you know, that type of thing. And this came up. And this is the Adamic Owl by, oh shoot, I should have looked at that. Hold please. By Hilary Smith Callis. The Yarniad. Yeah. And it's the Adamic Owl. I'll just show you this picture. So it's kind of a bulky, it's not bulky, it's knit with a worsted weight, but it's kind of a big cowl that you can stretch down over your shoulders. And that is exactly what I wanted for my mom. And as I have said in the past a couple of times, with all these projects taking only garter and stockinette stitch, I've wanted to, I don't know, challenge myself a little bit. Stockinette and garter are great, but when that's all you're doing, it kind of gets a little old. So I really like that this has some lace in it. I won't show you the okay, yeah, that's good. I don't want to show you the pattern because it is a purchasable pattern, but yeah. So I thought that would be perfect, and I had a few skeins. This is the same yarn that I was knitting. I was going to design something for my mom in, and it's going to look beautiful in this cowl, and that's Flicker by Barocco. And Flicker is a discontinued yarn. They don't make it anymore, but I had gotten this several years ago. We used to carry it at Yarnology, and which is the yarn store that I work at. And so I bought a few skeins when we were starting to kind of sell it out because it was going to be discontinued. And it has sparkles in it, which is super cool. I don't knit with sparkles very often. I am not a, I don't know. I always like associated sparkles with like girly girl. I'm not a girly girl. I get offended when everything made for women is made in pink and sparkles. And Seaver has heard me rant about this many times, about how they should not assume that all women want everything in pink. My favorite color is blue. I like green. I like turquoise. I like, yeah, it doesn't have to be pink for women to buy it. So anyway, that's, I feel slightly passionate about that. But anyway, so I kind of just associated sparkly with girly, and it doesn't really appeal to me. Sequins and sparkles and glitter just doesn't appeal to me. But I like how this is a very subtle sparkle to it. I like how the sparkle is in with the natural like base, that gray base. And I'm coming around a little bit to the sparkles. So I'm not going to go out and buy like everything in the sparkle base. I definitely think that it has to be a special skein of yarn or certain colors for me personally to want it in a sparkle base, but I feel less prejudiced towards it, I would say. Less biased against it. Yeah. I'm becoming more open-minded to Stellina. We'll see. There's some like fandom yarns that I think it's so appropriate. Like Harry Potter, or, oh, there was this skein by Brew City Yarns. It was like their Jasmine skein based on the Disney princess. And it had like gold Stellina in it. And that was perfect. Like, it's so Jasmine, and it's so like Aladdin the movie, that totally appropriate. Harry Potter yarns with a little bit of sparkle in it or something like that. Like, it's just kind of magical. Anyway, so I started knitting this the other day. I think it was on Thursday night. Yeah, I think it was Thursday night. And I knit, oh my gosh, it's so pretty. So this is very stretchy, which is a good thing because this is like where it'll go over your head. You do a few rows, not a few rows, quite a few rows before joining it in the round. So see, there's where I just joined it last night when I was knitting after getting home from the festival. And yeah, so that's how it turns out. And I've been having a lot of fun knitting the lace. I'm really hoping I'm doing it right. I think I am. It looks pretty good. But it's not like a consistent pattern. It's not a lace pattern that you just know like intuitively like what comes next. I have to look at the pattern pretty much every row. But that's okay. That's a good thing. It's challenging. But I like how it's coming up. It kind of has this like diamond in the middle, like this diamond pattern. And the yarn is super, super soft. It's a chain neck construction, so it's super lofty and like stretchy and bouncy. And it's going to be really, really warm. And I think that my mom's really going to like it. So I knit a little bit last night. I'm going to the farm today and tomorrow, so I don't think I'll bring this. I'll probably bring something that's a little more mindless because usually we're chatting with Seaver's parents or we're out and about. I've knit in the tractor before with him when he's doing tractor work, and so you can't really do anything that you have to look at a pattern or that you really have to think too much about because you're bouncing around and there's a lot going on. But something in stockinette is perfect for that, so I'll probably end up bringing my brewer's cowl. That'll be a good thing to work on while I'm there. But I'm really liking the Adamic Owl, and I'm really looking forward to getting that done. I think it's going to be really special for my mom because I love her. But yeah. So those are my 3 whips. I do have an FO from like 2 weeks ago, and I totally forgot to tell you about it last week. I could not believe it. When I was editing the last podcast, I'm like, shoot, I forgot to talk about my finished object. And I don't have it here. It is a sample for Yarnology, and I've showed it to you time and time again on the podcast because it took me about like a month and a half to knit. And that is, of course, the little boxy that I was knitting out of Spun Right Round yarn. And that's a pattern by Hohi Locatelli based off of her adult size boxy sweater, which is of course super popular, and it's just the like little kid version of it. So I had been knitting that for a while, and last time I showed it to you, which was 2 weeks ago, I think I just had the sleeve, like the second sleeve left to go. So I finished that like that day and cast off and then blocked it the next day when I went to work. So it's been done for about a week and a half, and again, I should have talked about it last week, but I totally forgot. I'll post a picture here because I don't have it with me, but yeah, it's at the shop, and it's on a mannequin, and it looks great, and yeah, it's super cute. So those are all of my projects. I have a couple projects that I'm going to be casting on soon-ish, I think. I'm teaching a class later in June on how to knit baby socks, so I'm going to be knitting a bunch of those. So that'll be really fun. I've never really knit baby socks much before, but they look super cute. And I have like babies to give them to, so that's great. My nephew, my friend Elizabeth's little girl, my godson Anders, and actually my friend Amber, who was my college roommate. She's going to have a baby in November. I'm so excited. So yeah, so I'll be able to get some baby socks knit up and kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So it'll be fun. So I have a few new yarn friends to show you because, again, I was at a fiber festival over the weekend, and you can't go to a fiber festival and not buy yarn. I was really good. The first day I did not buy anything. I was working most of the day. Seaver was there, but I didn't want to leave him too much alone in the booth. He was doing great. He was talking to everybody and being really personable, and it was so funny because he would be outside the booth and kind of say hi to people as they were walking by, and I was kind of in the booth talking to people and writing up receipts and everything and taking money, but he would just randomly be like, hey, do you want to see my favorite colorways? And people were like, okay. And he'd be like, I like this one, I like this one. It was just really funny. I don't know. He's just such a people person, and I'm such an introvert sometimes that it's hard for me to understand that side of him at times, but it's great. It worked out really well. But yeah, so the second day I went back and I knew I had to visit my friends at Bumblebee Acres Farm. I've talked about them many, many times on here. I have 3 skeins in my stash of their yarn. And I knit the Myriad of Minis Cowl by Sam of Bumblebee Acres with their Harry Potter mini skeins, which was so much fun. But I went back there. I had a couple skeins of yarn or colorways that I wanted to look at. The one that I'm dying for won't be out yet until I think this fall, September. And that was part of their Harry Potter yarn club this year. They do different fandom. That was weird. Siri just turned on. I didn't even press a button. Really strange. Okay. Anyway, my phone is alive. So, what was I saying? I can't remember. Yarn. Bumblebee Acres. Harry Potter. Yes. Trains of thought. Okay. So, they do a Harry Potter yarn club and I think they did an Outlander yarn club. They did, what else did they do? Jane Austen. They did quite a few. But I think the Harry Potter and Outlander have been consistent, and then they've thrown some other random fandom clubs in there. But the Harry Potter club this year was based on the second book, and they had a skein of yarn called the Hogwarts Express. Go on their Instagram and scroll through until you find a picture of it. Oh my god. It's bright red, of the same color red as the Hogwarts Express, and gray and black, and so cool. And so I wasn't sure that it was released to the public yet, and it wasn't, but I went there with that kind of in mind, and I'll just have to wait and order it or get it. I think they're going to Jefferson, the Wisconsin Sheep and Wool Festival in Jefferson, Wisconsin, again this year, so I will probably pick it up there. But there were some other colors that I have been kind of drooling over on their website, and so I was trying to decide which one I wanted. I probably spent a good half hour standing in their booth looking at all the yarns, debating, do I get another Harry Potter yarn? Do I kind of branch out and get something from one of their other collections? And I decided to do just that, and I got this skein. Oh my god, I love it so much. This is called Visits with Marigold, and it is a Downton Abbey themed yarn. I cannot tell you how much I love the greens in there, the golds. There's even like this patch of gray right here. Oh my gosh. Oops, there's their card. So, here, I'll show that to you too. Bumblebee Acres. And you can shop online at bumblebeeacres.com. And this is, I kind of branched out. It's still a fingering weight yarn, but it's an 80-20 merino and silk base. And it's 400 yards. I just love it so much. I love that ply, that kind of bouncy 2-ply. Oh my gosh. So I have looked at this on their website many times, and just kind of thought, well, I don't know. I never kind of went for it. But when I saw it there, especially in this base, I had never seen this base before from them, and I just absolutely love it. So yeah, that was my first purchase. And as I was checking out, Sam and her mom I was like signing my receipt or something, and I saw like her mom say something and Sam grabbed something. She's like, and since we know that you're a Hufflepuff, they gave me a Hufflepuff button. Totally made my day. Yeah, she's like, you're my friend. You're a friend of the shop. You can have a button. So, thanks guys. I'm probably going to put it on this is my Notions bag. It's got all of my, like, tape measure and, yeah, stitch markers and all sorts of stuff in there. Scissors. And on the back, I have started putting some buttons on here. And this I got the idea from my coworker Connor, who is graduating in, like, couple weeks from high school. He started working at the yarn shop when he was 15. He was 15 and had been coming into the yarn shop for like a couple years before that, and he's been working like Sundays, you know, every other week or something, Saturdays and Sundays for the last few years, and he's graduating high school and he's going to college, and it makes me feel so old. Oh my gosh. But anyway, so he has his bag. He has one very similar to this, and he has his bag like covered in buttons. And I'd gotten a couple really like cute buttons and didn't know what to do with them. So yeah, I started putting them on here. I have Looped that's from Washington, D.C. When I went there, I got a button from them. Knit Circus. Can you see that one? Knit Circus, they are a yarn dyeing company in Madison, Wisconsin, and super cool. We carry their yarn at the shop, and they gave me this at the Jefferson Sheep and Wool when I was there. I bought some yarn from them, and I forget something happened, like the credit card machine wouldn't work, and it took a long time. I don't know. So she was like, here, take a button. Sorry for the inconvenience. I'm like, I don't care. But I took the button because it's cute. And then this one is from a potter. I also got this at Jefferson Sheep and Wool Fest. And it's a cow in a scarf. How cute is that? It's like my Stella cow. Stella is a cow at Seaver's family farm that I have adopted. She's my baby. So, if you haven't watched before and you are wondering why I'm calling this cow Stella, might be a little confusing. And then this one I really love. I think you can see that pretty well, right? And it says, be a tourist in your own backyard. And I love that idea because while there are some amazing places to see, and I'm hoping to do more traveling in the future. I've done a decent amount around the United States, but hopefully someday I'll be able to get out a little bit more. But I live in an area that is insanely beautiful, and there's so much recreation around here. There's state parks, and the river, you know, is like a mile away, and we have some amazing things to do in this area. So I like that idea of kind of going out and being a tourist kind of in your own area. A lot of times we overlook the things that are right in front of us, and we think that in order to see something cool and exciting and beautiful, we have to go like miles and miles and miles away, while there's probably something super cool just like down the road. So while it's great to travel, sometimes it's not in our budget, or it's not feasible at the time, so we can still do some really great things, and yeah, just right in our own backyards. So yes, my Hufflepuff button is going to go probably right there, added to the collection. So I was really excited about that. The rest of the day, I was kind of on the search for a yarn to go into my fade. I've been rethinking all my colors, of course. I've talked to you about that, but I really kind of got stumped after, let me grab it again quick, after this color. I really didn't know what to do after this one, and I've been looking for something in that teal color to come after it. I really wanted to continue the blues. While I like the oranges and reds and stuff that I kind of have already going in my fade, the blues and the teals are kind of what I wanted to focus on and continue throughout it. So I was on the search. There was a couple that I thought maybe would work, and I kept asking people, like, do you mind if I try and like color match this? And they're like, sure. And I did. I think I came up with one that will work. And at first I wasn't sure because it's a little darker, it's a lot more blue, and it pulls in some purples into the fade, which I wasn't totally sure on, but I think it will be good. So this is Ocean Wave by River's Edge Fiber Arts, and I've never worked with any of her yarn, but she's from Michigan. I think Michigan, right? River's Edge, Grand Ledge, Michigan. Yeah. Anyway, so I thought this was pretty in general. It's got obviously the blue and purple speckles in there, but it also, the base is more of a greenish teal, and it goes really well with the base of this one, because this one almost has like a minty green bluish base. It's very light, but it's still there. And whoa, that's really close, sorry. I'm like shoving it right in your face. So I think it'll be kind of cool to bring out more of that blue and teal from this skein into that. And I'm not really sure what I'm going to do after this one. It's just going to be an ongoing effort to find colors, but I don't think I want to pull the purple out of here and do anything towards that, because the beginning of my fade is so warm with the oranges and the reds that I think if I started going super cool at the end, it would just not look good. So I'm going to stay with the oceany blues, because that's a common theme in every yarn that I have so far in my fade. So I think that'll look good. But I really liked how the two kind of base colors here look together. And I'm excited to use a yarn from someone I've never seen before. And it's just a 75-25 merino nylon fingering weight, 460 yards, and it's on her spotted dog base. So I'm excited. I think that'll look really cool. So that was purchase number 2, and my final purchase actually came before the River's Edge yarn, but I had kind of scoped that out, and I was thinking that I'd probably go back and buy that one. But this is from Black Cat Fibers, and I've been following them on Instagram for quite a while and admiring their yarn, and they were at the festival, so I stopped by their booth a couple of times. I was really tempted by a few skeins, but this one kept kind of calling me back to it, and I felt like it was a little bit outside of my comfort zone, where there's another skein that was more of like these neutral blues and browns and greens, and I don't know, I tend to knit with that a lot. I love it, and I think it's beautiful, but I have a lot of that kind of color theme in my stash, so I thought I would kind of go outside my comfort zone. Little did I know that it was very similar to the yarn that I was about to go buy at River's Edge, but that's okay. I still really like it. Ba-bum! And this is retwisted by me. It looked a lot better when it was in a skein that they had twisted up, but I wanted to look at the whole thing stretched out, so I untwisted it and tried twisting it back. But this is just, I love these deep sections of purple, and when it kind of like fractures from blue to purple right there, I don't know if you can see that well. I just think that's gorgeous. And this is on their Nomad sock base, which again is a 75/25 merino nylon, 463 yards. And that's their card. And it's called Drop Dead, which is really fun. Drop Dead gorgeous. I agree. So yeah, so I bought this and put it in my bag, admired it, put it in my bag, and then I went back to buy the River's Edge yarn. And I'm like, oh my god, this looks so similar. But this one is much more green than this. And while in this light you probably can't tell, it's a very subtle difference. This is much cooler in the blues here than this one is. And I had considered actually putting, like, after I put this in my fade, I had considered then using this as my 6th color. And while I think that would be very pretty, it does not match the beginning of my fade. So if I had started a fade like this and then gone into like purples and pinks and stuff, that would have been super cool. But I didn't. I have, you know, about half of, not quite half of my fade done already in more warm colors, and I love that too. So I'm like, well, I'll knit this into a pair of really awesome socks or something like that. And there's like really fun speckles. Let's see if I can find a good, just throughout the blue there's some purple speckles in there, and I don't know if you can't really see them too well. If I undid it again, you could probably see them. There's some right there. But yeah, so I really wanted yarn from them, and this skein just kept calling to me. Oh, look at that right there. Isn't that pretty? I love the contrast between the dark purples and pinks and that bright teal. I just think that's so nice. See, I'm really excited to work with that. But obviously I had teal on the brain because that's what I bought. And, well, this isn't. This is different. Visits with Marigold. That's much different. But yeah, so that was my new yarn friends from Shepherd's Harvest. I also got a couple pairs of socks. And you might be thinking, Three Sisters, doesn't she dye yarn? Yes, she does. But she also has fiber animals. And she got yarn spun and processed and then knit into boot socks. And other socks too. These are just boot socks because they go up really high. She also has like regular length socks as well. And these are for me. These are size medium. And it's 68% alpaca from her farm. And then 25% superwash wool, 5% nylon, and 2% elastic. And the wool, nylon, and elastic did not come from her farm, obviously. I don't think you can what is elastic made out of even? Probably some plasticky thing. But the elastic obviously is in there to help them stretch around your calf. And these are for Seaver. And Lisa gave us these for helping out at the booth, which was really sweet of her. Thank you, Lisa. And I'm not sure if she's going to have these up on her website. You can check them. You can check her website if you'd like to. It's 3sistersmn.com. And her yarn is definitely for sale on her website, whatever's left over, because we sold so much yarn. It was so cool. So much fun. Everyone was just going crazy over her like speckly yarn, which is deserving because it's beautiful. But so that was really fun. And I also, while I was at the booth, I also got to meet a couple of viewers of the podcast, which was really cool. I had mentioned that I was going to be there in the last episode, and I figured, you know, there might be one or maybe someone who had seen it, or I don't know, had heard of it or something, but there was a couple people that came up and said that they were viewers, and it was really fun. I met Beth for the first time. Hi, Beth. Thanks so much for coming to the Three Sisters booth and talking to Seaver and I, and yeah, it was really fun to meet you. Debbie came back. I had met Debbie once at Yarnology, and that was really cool. That was the first time that anyone had talked to me about watching the podcast. Debbie kind of made the connection and was like, oh my gosh, I think I just saw your podcast. And that was when I had just gotten started, so that was amazing. But she came back to the booth and reintroduced herself and said hi, so that was really fun. And then, of course, Kathy, who is a friend of mine she lives in the La Crosse area, and she comes to Yarnology a lot, watches the podcast, and actually last week, after I had filmed, I hadn't posted the video yet because I was still editing it, but it was after I'd filmed last week. She came in with her granddaughter, and her granddaughter is just 2 years old, and her name is Edith, and she is just the cutest thing. And her and Kathy watch my podcast together, and I guess Edith is a bit of a fan. It sounds like Kathy says that sometimes she'll like kiss the iPad screen and wave at me, and she's just so cute. So I should have taken a picture with her. I had thought of it, and as they were like heading out, but then Edith was a little sad to leave the shop. She was having so much fun at the shop at Yarnology. That's where I met her. I don't know if I said that. Kathy brought Edith and her daughter. Oh my gosh, I can't remember your daughter's name, Kathy. I'm sorry. It's not Erin. I can't remember. Anyway, whoops, sorry about that. Edith did not want to leave, and she was having too much fun looking at all the yarn, hugging all the little mannequins. That was so cute. And yeah, she was sad to go, so I didn't want to bring it up. But next time I see Edith, maybe we'll take a picture, and she can see herself on the podcast maybe or something. But Edith, if you're watching, hi! Thanks for coming in and meeting me. It was so much fun. Yeah, and then I think there was one or two other people who came and said hi. Names are escaping me, but thank you as always for coming, and it's so much fun to meet people who have seen the podcast. And Seaver, a couple of them were like, so this is Seaver, and he's just like, hi, who are you? And he knows that I talk about him on the podcast, and he's been on the podcast once, and I post videos about the farm, and so a lot of people know, about him and about us, but still, he's like, yeah, it's kind of weird. People know who I am. I don't know who they are. But yeah. So anyway, thank you everybody for coming and saying hi and for stopping at Lisa's booth. We had a great weekend. So much fun. And I can't wait for next year. I love going to festivals. I love it. Lisa, it's not her favorite part of it, but once we get there, she's like, yeah, once I get there and start talking to people, then it's great. But I think it's the stress of setting up, tearing down, getting there on time, just having enough stock, dying enough, you feel like you're not prepared. And I can understand that if I was the dyer, I'd feel a lot more stressed out about going to festivals. But since I'm only the helper, I just get to do the fun part of selling yarn and talking to people. So, but yeah. So next year we'll be back, I hope. But yeah, I think that just about does it. I've shown all of my works in progress, talked about my finished object, shown you all of my new yarny friends, talked about Shepherd's Harvest. I do have a little bit of video from Shepherd's Harvest that I'll put here at the end, and I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate each and every one of you, and yeah, I can't wait to talk to you again. Enjoy this. If you're in my area, enjoy this beautiful spring day. If not, I just hope that you're doing something that makes your heart happy, whether it's knitting, crocheting, reading, hiking. I mean, yeah, anything. Just go out there and do what makes you happy. So thanks so much again for tuning in, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye. Hey everybody, so it is Saturday, May 13th, and we are just about to leave for Shepherd's Harvest. It's about 6:30 in the morning, and we're just getting everything together. I'm just waiting for Seaver here in the car, and then we'll be on our way. It's about like a 2.5-hour drive, I think, from our apartment. So we're gonna try and get on the road here very quickly. I can't wait to see everybody and to be around all the fiber and sheep, and it's just gonna be super, super fun. So hope to see you there. We're at the fair.
Yep. Hi.
Very, very nice day today. It's gonna be like 80 degrees, which is crazy. Onto the sheep. Hi, Mama. Someone's not happy.
Very curious.
Hello. Hello. We've sold a lot of yarn. It's been really, really fun, and I even had some people recognize me from the podcast. That was super, super fun and nice, and Debbie, Kathy was here, and a couple others came and said hello. Carolyn, of course, and her friend Kara. It was so great to meet Kara and to spend a little time with Carolyn again. So yeah, I've been having a blast. Seaver's been having fun too, and he's just off running around and looking at some things. But yeah, we're having a lot of fun.